We're on? Okay, so let me welcome folks here tonight to our Selectmen's meeting of December 16, 2014. I'd like to ask everyone with us here today to please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance as we start the open meeting session. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so thank you again and welcome. I will note that our board meeting commenced at 6:45 p.m. For the purposes of interviewing an individual who expressed interest in joining or potentially joining one of our subcommittees, and we will continue that process. So this brings us to our normal business meeting. And the first order of business we have is a poll petition requested by National Grid, I believe, and Verizon, concurrently relative to Chapman Road. I will read the hearing notice. I don't know if there's a representative present. Okay, so you are hereby notified that a hearing will be held by the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Tewksbury in the Selectmen's Meeting Room located at the temporary Town Hall, 464 Main Street at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, December 16, 2014, on the petition of National Grid and Verizon New England, Inc. to relocate pole number 29, 7 feet southeast to line up with the pole line on Chapman Road, as shown on the attached petition, plan number 180-47836. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to National Grid. So can you do us a favor, sir, and just give us your name and affiliation, company affiliation?
Sure. Good evening. My name is Carlos. I'm the design engineer on the electric side for National Grid. And just as you explained, you're just moving the pole further towards the road, so it's safer for everyone and it's more reliable for our lines.
Okay, so this is right on the Tewksbury-Billerica line on Chapman Road, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And do you know, has there been any communication with any of the residents that are directly impacted?
This is actually going to better their service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had any concerns registered by any of the residents in that area?
Not that I'm aware of.
Seems to be on board?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, are there questions from my colleagues at all?
No, that's the only business being ordered.
Okay. All right, so just before we close the record, sir, just for our secretary, I think we need your last name, right?
You don't mind?
V as in Victor, A-L-L-E, Valley.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We appreciate that. All right, so are there any residents here who want to speak to this particular matter?
I just got here, I'm here for the Chapman Road.
Yep. So why don't you come up to this microphone, sir, if you have a question or a particular comment, step right up. And just do us a favor and just give us your name and address, if you don't mind.
My name is Edgar Veloso, and 215 Chapman Road.
Thank you.
And I just came to see what's going on regarding the replacement and relocated the pole.
Are you familiar with what's being proposed, or you know nothing about it?
I read it, what is being proposed, and I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
we can cover all the bases.
Okay, so I guess what's being proposed is poll number 29. And this gentleman here who represents one of the utility companies is indicating to the board that they want to move the pole 7 feet to make it a little bit more for the sightline reason. Is that largely the reason? Or?
Right, it's to improve the service and our lines reliability.
Okay.
So,
The question that I have is, I noticed that pole number 26, it's in the corner of Jefferson Road, and pole number 27, which is in front of my house, that has an X mark on it. I was wondering what's those X being spray painted into it
okay. Can you speak to that, sir?
We're just replacing the pole.
on
Same spot.
on those spots?
Yeah.
Okay, and I noticed that on the drawing here, number 29, and this number 28.
Yeah, 28 is an existing pole.
Yeah, that doesn't have an X mark, and then it's just gonna stay the way it is?
Correct.
All right. So far, everything looks okay.
Very good.
I was wondering if was there a chance to have a light installed on this post in front of my house. It's kind of dark in there, and they have a light on the pole, on a couple poles before that,
Right.
and which is vacant. I was wondering if it was a chance to do that.
I'd have to ask the town manager, it's a different process, so
Okay,
I'd
no
ask the
problem.
town manager to speak to that.
What we normally do on that is have the police department go out in the evening to see what the situation is, and they'll give us a recommendation.
Thank you very much.
So we'll follow through on that and ask our public safety officer to take a peek at that, okay?
Okay, sir, thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to come in tonight.
Before he
Appreciate it.
goes, do
Yes.
you want to make sure Richard gets his information?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, terrific. Okay, so,
I was just going to make a motion.
you want to offer a motion?
I was going to offer a motion that we proceed with National Grid's request to move this pole.
Is there a second on that? Second. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the request. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Sir, thank you for coming in and representing your company tonight.
Have a great evening.
Appreciate it. Thank you. You as well. Are there any residents who wish to speak on any other subject matter this evening? Nope. Okay, that brings us to a topic we took up last meeting, and my colleagues should have some materials in their briefing packets for tonight's meeting. 2 weeks ago, we took an opportunity to approve all of the 2015 licenses that the Board of Selectmen issue as the licensing authority. However, we did take the additional step of tabling a number of licenses that had some outstanding obligation to the town. I do want to make two comments, and then I'll summarize where we stand currently. Just for clarification's sake, I want to make it clear for a couple of points. One is that there may be other parties, business owners, other residents, other tax-paying entities in Tewksbury that may have an outstanding obligation to the town. The only way you make your way on the list that we were discussing was if you have a license issued by this board. So I think it's important for people to kind of keep it in perspective that there could be other businesses that have an obligation, and if you looked at the list of outstanding tax obligations or utility obligations, the list might potentially be more encompassing or different than the list that this board was working on. I think that's important, sometimes gets lost in the discussion. You may be a very, a well-run organization, and you're on that list for some reason, you don't have a license that we approve, and you may not have been on the particular list that we were working with. The second thing is, you could have ended up on this list as a license holder because you hold a lease renting premises that you operate on or in. And that could have put you on this list. So you may not be delinquent potentially in a utility expense or a property tax or personal property. Your landlord may have potentially been behind, yet you become a participant in this process by name and virtue of having a license that we approve. So what I'm trying to do here is stress that just because we named a name, you have to peel back the layers a little bit to understand exactly what that relationship and what that obligation is. All that having been said, I think we tabled 25 or so, I'm giving a rough estimate of the licenses, and thanks to our administrative team, we issued correspondence to all of those license holders And as we went into the weekend, there were 4 entities that were still outstanding. And then as of this evening, I'm informed that all of those license holders have either made payment arrangements or issued payment and are current through the current quarter. So the license holding operations that we were discussing at this moment in time don't have anything that requires attention or action. So I think that was a very positive development for the town. And from our perspective, from a process perspective, certainly ensured that as licenses were renewed, all those outstanding obligations were cleaned up, if you will. So I want to thank those parties, both on our administrative team that made that communication, and more importantly to those business owners that recognized their obligations and came through to clean up those outstanding responsibilities. So with all of that information out there, what I'd like to ask my colleagues to do is, rather than go one by one, we can take this as a slate and approve, if someone wants to make a motion, all those that were tabled, take them off the table and approve those licenses for 2015.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So, when you say that, we're taking them all off, or are we taking them all off minus these 4?
All of them.
All of them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Bruce has a question, I think?
Nope.
No?
And I'm just going to make that motion
Beautiful.
to remove those businesses that we had tabled, licenses we had tabled at the last meeting, and to make a motion to approve those licenses, given their coming current.
Okay, so we have a motion to that effect, seconded by Mr. Gay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair will vote aye as well. And that will allow our team to issue all those licenses, and we'll be in good stead heading into the first of the year. So I want to thank my colleagues for their patience while we worked through that last week, or 2 weeks ago, and again tonight, but I think the methodology had some obvious benefit to the community. Next on your agenda, you should have, we distributed last meeting, a draft of our proposed 2015 Selectmen meeting dates. I didn't hear anyone raise their hand relative to any modifications to the schedule. And if there are no last minute concerns, then I would suggest we publish this as our 2015 meeting schedule. Does anyone have any concerns? So we'll move that forward and ask the town manager to make that available to our team. Next on our list, we have the New Year's Eve closing schedule, and I'd ask the board to take action by way of endorsing the proposed schedule for all Section 12 or on-premises licensees, that bars will be closed at 12:45 a.m. Consumption period will be allowed until 1:15 a.m. Patrons need to be off premises by 1:30 a.m. and all establishments must be closed and employees off premises by 2 a.m. on New Year's Eve. And I think this has been recommended consistently year over year by our public safety officials. Anyone have any questions?
No, that was my question, was that whether Chief Sheehan had endorsed this.
Yeah.
My other question is, what time are current hours? Because I'm not...
Um,
Are these the same as current hours, or are they
No,
later?
these are extended.
Okay.
These are
By an
extended.
hour, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve this recommendation on the New Year's Eve hours.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion made by Mr.